Well, hello again. How are you? This is going to be a bit of a video on synthetic nagura. I need to explain some things just to make this simpler for people who just don't watch videos or don't learn to listen to questions that have been answered. So, always keep your sink clean, by the way, between grits. Cheap, soft toilet paper is a blessing for a honer. Alright, now there's many different kinds of nagura out there. There's natural nagura. This is a piece of Vermont slate. It's fairly fine, fairly abrasive, loaded, fairly heavy. By the way, you'll notice it's radiused. Do that to all your nagura. It's a good habit. You would use this on a base stone. Let me pull up a base stone here. That's a piece of Vermont slate also. This makes a nice pair. You can go from a 1000 grit through to finishing shaving off of just these two pieces. Natural, mined, variable. Lots of variations been out there. This is a JNAT, a Shobu, Type 100. One of dozens I've bought and used. This is a DMT coarse card. Been used a lot, I'm sure you can tell. This is a pair. You can come off a 1000 grit bevel set, raise a thick mud, a drier mud, not crunchy but drier, and remove 1000 grit stria in a few minutes or less. Then you can rinse it, raise another smaller one, thinner, refine, raise another small one about the size of 2 American quarters. But this is what they call a diamond nagura. You follow? I don't go above fine. I think that the finer you get on these diamond cards, sorry, the more they tend to lose their grit into your slurry. That's a random factor you don't need. This is a complete progression. Okay? A diamond nagura, or DN. Cowl caps. Alright, let's dig up something else here. This is a synthetic nagura. Now what is different about this is it's very freeable. It's not actually meant for honing. Okay? This is actually meant for cleaning and dressing similar grit level stones. You're going to notice something. It sheds grit fast. You can level a stone, you can remove swarf, and you can take coarse scratches out of this 5000 grit Shapton. So usually about a 2000 to a 7000 grit. This is a 3000 grit nagura. It will raise a slurry. For knives, perhaps you could use that slurry. For razors, you would be an idiot, in my opinion, and in my experience. This is a Imanishi nagura. It's just white aluminum oxide, very coarse. It's almost porous. Best use, you should soak one of these, okay? And then there's other types of synthetic naguras. They're not used so much for leveling or knocking off high spots as they are for honing, creating an abrasive mud. This, for instance, and its two brothers, this trio I've been using for around a month now, I think, are graded nagura. Some people have said that they are rather like superstones. I don't agree. They do not smell like, and the slurry does not taste like a superstone's nagura. They are very closely graded. How closely? I don't know. They're made by Nagura or Naniwa, but they are very close to the true grit that they are marked with in Japanese industrial standard grit rating, okay? 5, 8, and 12 for razors. These are low. You can shave off of this one, and you can definitely shave off of this one. So you could say you could have an entire progression with 2 of these 3 stones. You could match these 2, or you could match these 2. Now, what does that all really mean? Well, it takes time. For instance, it takes time and experimentation. I would suggest, if you're going to use these synthetic nagura as abrasives, first find a hard base stone. This is a Shapton Kuramaku. Basically a Shapton Professional. It's hard enough that this 5K makes the majority of the slurry that comes up on it. This Naniwa stone. It's white. If it was from the base stone, it would be pink or purple for the most part. You see that there's some purple on here, so there is some. In testing these, I found that this has got a 1K edge on it, by the way. It's good habit to do a few laps with no pressure. Let the slurry break itself down a bit. You don't want to power drive a huge chunk of slurry into your edge of your straight razor, now do you? Now there's a lot of argument out there as to whether these actually do what they say they do. Well, they do to an extent. It's a form of lapping. Just like a synthetic, or just like a natural Japanese stone, the mud. But unfortunately, since these are synthetic, you're going to get about 5K worth of refinement out of these. And that's about it. As you can tell, it cuts rather fast. It keeps the base stone from loading. Okay? That's important. It provides a graded abrasive function between the stone and the steel. It cleans the steel and out of the stone, creates a creamy slurry. And it doesn't feel like 99% of the nagura out there. It doesn't feel crunchy. It doesn't damage your apex. By now, with this speed, I should be fairly close to done with my mid-range work. Always clean your blade before you do any wiping or checking. What this does, what you're looking for, is a uniformity of polish. Now, some natural stones you can use slurry on, and some you cannot. Arkansas, for instance, I wouldn't use Arkansas Novaculite slurry. It'll tear the devil out of your edge. I'm going to take a quick peek at it with this. The edge is very clean. The stria, what I'm looking for is a uniformity of the apex height. And with this coarser 100 power microscope, I can at least tell that. I'm looking for uniformity of height and refinement. Thin down some of that slurry a little bit. Another benefit of using slurry is it helps limit burr formation. So you don't have a false edge hanging out there as much. Think of it as micro-graded particles continually knocking off the weak apex that forms. Now I'm pretty much just water. And this is where having a fine base stone like this comes in handy. I'm getting the most refinement out of this 5K I can. Okay? Now I have a true 5K edge. All the lower grit stria will be gone. There's There's nothing left over. It takes far less time to do than it does to talk about it. It's almost mirror finish. You could call it a pre-polish. Excuse me. Now this, I'm sure some of you know what this is. To get the most out of, say, this 12K, try not to let you need a hard, fine substrate. This is a very fine synthetic nagura. This will give you a mirror polish, but the base stone needs to be as fine or finer. So if you had like a 20K Sahiro Gokumiyu, I guess you could say it. Basically, if you had a 20K base stone that was hard enough to stand up to this so that you could actually raise a predominantly 12K or finer slurry, that's great. But if you don't, and you have something like this Vermio hone, well, you're in luck. You can raise a synthetic slurry on this, and for some reason it doesn't tend to embed in this stone. You could also use an Arkansas stone if you have one that has been dressed fine enough to finish on. And we're going to jump from 5K. As you can see, it does raise a little base stone, but not much. And what I would suggest is you work from heel to toe, one side for a bit. What you're trying to do is refine, work into your slurry. This slurry on this stone feels good. It feels greasy almost. It feels smooth as, well, a form of butter, I guess. If you had a 12K Naniwa Superstone, you could use. You could also do a form of this. What this does is it provides a buffering for the base stone and a substrate for you to work that graded ceramic abrasive. It's the same thing as their same abrasive that is in their Superstones, is my understanding. You work it back and forth. It feels good. Keep thinning it. It's a nice polish coming up. I have a larger Vermio, but this one is my barber's home stuff. I keep it in the bathroom, so it gets a lot of use. The undercut is good, so we're going to flush the stone, flush the blade. Now we're just getting whatever the Vermio can offer, which is quite a lot. It's a very fine stone. Time to do a little checking. Clean up some of my loose grit, swarf. Drying it off camera here. That is a beautiful polish. A true mirror polish. Grab my strop here and do a few laps. I'm sure some of you are curious as to why I went such a long way around about nagura. That's because you're going to find people who say, well, it just doesn't matter, they're all the same, which is absolute, complete garbage. They're not all the same. A lot of synthetic nagura are dressing nagura, not meant to be used to shave off of, not even partly. And people do you no service when they tell you baloney like that. As I hope you can tell, it is beyond just sharp. It is ridiculously sharp. The refinement, I think, is a bit better than a 12K. I know I'm going to catch flack for that, but I think the Vermio is quite a lot finer than most people think it is. And that, and the, excuse me, these synthetic particles, that gives you a finish that is absolutely obscene. Now I'm going to dress this with clipper side, and that'll keep it from deteriorating until I shave this. What I really wanted to show off was what I thought about these synthetic nagura. Now I'm going to have to order the extra coarse versions of these and try them on knives. But for razors, this is good. This Naniwa graded nagura, they have my trust. And there's the base stone. This is a good hone, by the way. If you ever get a chance to own one, whoops, I would suggest that you do so. So you've got synthetic naguras. Some are like this, rough, excellent for dressing down or smoothing out a synthetic stone or even some natural stones, but not really what you want to hone on. And others are like the Naniwa, top of the line, well worth the money. I will see you guys later. My voice is about ready to just die on me. Goodbye.